Welcome to Study Time, a televised home learning program produced by Rwanda Education Board.
Hello students, welcome to TV learning programs. I'm teacher Aggrey, teacher of Entrepreneurship. Today I'm going to learn with senior 2 students. And we are still on Unit 4, which is the market. And our lesson today, learners, we are going to talk about economic integration. And I expect you learners, at the end of the lesson, you should be able to explain the stages of economic integration. What is meant by economic integration, learners? What is meant by economic integration? To integrate, economic integration. The word integrate, the meaning of the word integrate, it means combining or bringing together, to integrate. The word integrate means to combine or to bring together. To combine or bring together. That is the meaning of the word integrate. To combine or bring together. Now, in this case, learners, economic integration, it is the coming of countries. When countries are coming together to trade together in a given region is what we call economic integration. A cooperation of several countries in a given region for the sake of enjoying economic benefits. Countries coming together in order to trade together, in order to enjoy economic benefits is what we call economic integration. An example of economic integration, examples of economic integration, examples of economic integration, examples of economic integration, One of the examples of economic integration, learners, we have the EAC. The EAC. EAC stands for East African Community. It stands for East African Community. East African Community. It is the East African Community. And the East African Community, it is composed of 6 member states, which is composed of 6 member countries. It is composed of 6 member states, the partner states, what we call the partner states. And what are those countries that are in East African Community? Because it is composed of 6 member states. Now, one of those countries that are part of East African Community, Rwanda is among. Kenya is among, and even Tanzania. I've said that there are 6 countries that are part of the East African Community. And even we have Burundi, Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania, Burundi, and even we have Uganda. Uganda is also part of East African Community, and South Sudan that joined recently, South Sudan. Now, it is composed of 6 member states. Now, these countries are coming together. They are cooperating in order to trade together in a given region. And what is that region? The region is East African Community. That is the trading bloc. The region is called East African Community. That is what we call economic integration. Countries coming together in order to trade together for the sake of enjoying economic benefits. Now, these are 6 member states that are trading together in a given region or in a trading bloc called East African Community. The second example of economic integration, the second example of economic integration, of EI, which is economic integration. The second example, we have COMESA. We have COMESA. COMESA is also a trading bloc. And COMESA, COMESA stands for Common Market for Eastern. That is common market. Common market. It is common market for Eastern. Common market for Eastern and Southern African countries, and Southern Africa. That is COMESA. That is COMESA. Common market for Eastern and Southern Africa. Now, when countries of the East and South come together in order to trade together in a given region called COMESA, it is what we call economic integration. Countries coming together, a cooperation of several countries in order to trade together for the sake of enjoying economic benefits. And learners, what are those economic benefits are we talking about? One of the economic benefits, it enables a country to generate incomes through selling its products to other countries. Because when you're trading together with other countries, you produce and sell to those countries. And when you sell, you will generate income. That is one of the economic benefits. And the second economic benefit, member countries will be able to buy products from other member states at a cheaper price, at a cheaper cost, because they are trading together in a given region. In case there is a reduction of taxes, in case there is free trade. Now, citizens from member states will be able to buy commodities from those member countries at a low cost. It is also an economic benefit that is enjoyed by countries trading together in a given region. That is economic integration. And after understanding the concept of economic integration, what could be the conditions necessary for the success of economic integration? A condition. What could be the conditions necessary in order for trade to succeed if countries are trading together in a given region? What are those conditions that member states should fulfill in order for trade to become successful? A condition. Something that you're supposed to do in order for something to be possible. That is a condition. And one of the conditions for the success of economic integration, one of the conditions, countries should be geographically close to each other in order to cut down transport costs. In order for trade to succeed, if countries are trading together in a given region, countries should be neighboring. They should be neighboring countries. For example, an example, like the East African Community, Rwanda is trading with Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda and Burundi. Now, Rwanda is near Burundi, Rwanda is near Tanzania, and it is near Uganda. Now, it will be easier to transport goods to these countries because they are geographically close. They are neighboring countries, and which reduces transport costs. Now, with one of the conditions, countries should be geographically close to each other. They should be neighboring countries in order to cut down the transport costs. Because if they are neighboring countries, it will be easy to export goods and import goods at a cheaper cost because it reduces the transport costs. The second condition that makes economic integration to succeed, there should be existence of trade relations among member states. And trade relations, these countries should be friendly. They should be friendly countries. If these countries have conflicts among themselves, these countries trade will not succeed. Now, these countries should be friendly. There should be existence of trade relations. Because if there are conflicts, if these countries have conflicts, trade will not succeed. Now, one of the conditions in order for trade to succeed, there should be existence of trade relations among member states. The third condition, countries should be politically stable. There should be security within the region. If countries are not politically stable, there is insecurity within the region, this will hinder trade. Take an example. If Rwanda is trading with Tanzania, and in Tanzania there is insecurity, Rwandans will be scared to go and buy goods from Tanzania because they are scared to lose their lives. There is insecurity. Now, in order for trade to succeed, countries should be politically stable. There should be peace. There should be security within the region. The next condition, countries must be at almost the same level of development. Should be almost at the same level of development. It is better for LDCs to trade with LDCs. And what are LDCs in this case? LDCs. LDCs, these are low developing countries. Low developing, these are low developing countries. Low developing countries. These are low developing countries. These are LDCs. Now, it is better for an LDC country to trade with an LDC so that they should get fair benefits. If an LDC trades with an MDC, the more developed country, will benefit more from an LDC. Now, countries must be at almost the same level of development. If they are LDCs countries, they should trade together so that they should enjoy fair benefits, instead of an LDC trading with an MDC. The last condition, countries should have the same political ideology. They should have the same political ideology in order to avoid conflicts among member states. Same political ideology. They should have the same interest in order to achieve a common goal. If countries are trading together, in order for trade to succeed, countries should have the same political ideology. Now, if they are supporting capitalism, all countries should support capitalism. But if countries have different interests, it will be difficult for trade. It will be difficult to trade together. Trade will not be successful. Now, in order for trade to succeed, countries should have the same interest in order to achieve a common goal. Those are the conditions for economic integration to succeed. We have also the stages of economic integration. And there are 5 main stages of economic integration. And what are those stages? The first stage of economic integration is preferential trade area. Preferential, the PTA. Preferential trade area. Preferential trade area. And what is the meaning of the word preferential? Preferential, that is a favor, an advantage, a privilege given to member countries. The word preferential means a favor or an advantage, a privilege or an advantage. With preferential trade area, this is the stage where member countries agree to reduce tariffs amongst themselves on selected commodities and continue to charge independent tariffs on commodities from non-member countries. With preferential trade area, member states are given, the member countries are given, they have an advantage. They are favored because they are trading together in a given region compared to non-member countries. An example of the East African community. An example of East African community where Rwanda is trading with Kenya, at the same time Tanzania, Burundi, Tanzania, and so on. If I'm a Rwandan, I want to buy goods in Kenya. This is a Rwandan trader who is importing goods from Kenya, is buying goods from Kenya. A Rwandan is buying goods is importing products from Kenya, is importing goods from Kenya, especially commodities which are produced within the region, especially those commodities that are produced within the region. And how do they know that those products are produced within the region? They should have what we call a certificate of origin. And the certificate of origin, that is a document that shows where commodities are manufactured. Now, if this is a Rwandan trader, is buying goods from Kenya, Rwanda will charge him or her a less tax because he bought those goods from a member country, because Kenya is part of the East African community. A Rwandan citizen will be given a privilege. He will pay less tax because he bought those goods from Kenya, which is a member country. Then if also a Kenyan is buying goods from Rwanda, if a Kenyan is also buying goods from Rwanda, is importing goods from Rwanda, Kenya will charge him or her a less tax because he bought them from Rwanda, which is a member country, since those products are manufactured within the region. Now, with preferential trade area, member countries are given a privilege. They pay less taxes on commodities, especially commodities produced within the region. And each member country will charge its own tax on commodities from non-member countries. An example, if a Rwandan is buying goods from Congo, Congo is not part of East African community. If I'm a Rwandan trader and I'm buying goods from Congo, Rwanda may decide to charge me 10%. If a Kenyan is also buying goods from Congo, also Kenya may charge that person 20%. If I'm a Ugandan and buying goods from Congo, Uganda may decide to charge me either 25%. Now, on preferential trade area, member states pay less taxes on commodities produced within the region, but each country will charge its own tax on commodities from non-member countries. Now, you see Rwanda is charging 10% on commodities that are imported from Congo. Kenya is charging 20%. Each country will charge its own tax on commodities from non-member countries. The second stage of economic integration is free trade area. And what is free trade? What is free trade? Free trade. Free trade refers to the selling. Free trade refers to the selling. And buying of commodities without any trade restriction. The selling and buying of commodities. And buying of commodities. And buying of commodities without any trade restriction. Without any trade restriction. Without trade restrictions. Without trade restrictions. Without trade restriction. That is free trade. Now, on free trade area, on this stage of free trade area, trade barriers are eliminated among member states. And what are trade barriers? Those trade barriers, what we call trade barriers, these are restrictions. These are restrictions that limit trade with other countries. That limit trade with other countries. That limit trade with other countries. Those are trade barriers. For example, like taxes charged on imported products may discourage people to import from other countries. Like a quota limiting on the quantity, those are trade restrictions. Now, on free trade area, there is free trade among member countries. Now, if I'm a Rwandan buying, like East African community, if I'm a Rwandan, I'm buying goods from Kenya. If I buy them from Kenya, I will not pay tax on those commodities because I bought those commodities from Kenya, which is part of East African community. If a Kenyan also is buying goods from Rwanda, also Kenya, he or she will not pay tax on those goods because it is free trade. Now, trade barriers that limit trade are removed among member countries, on honorary member countries. And each country will charge its own tax on commodities from non-member countries. Now, if I'm a Rwandan, I'm buying them from Malawi. I'm importing goods from Malawi. This is a Rwandan trader, is buying goods from Malawi. Malawi is not part of the East African community. It is a non-member country. It is not part of East African community. They will charge me a tax. I will pay a tax. If I'm a Ugandan and I'm buying goods also from Malawi, because Malawi is not part of the East African community, I will have to pay tax on those goods. Now, on free trade area, each country will charge its own tax on commodities from non-member countries. Now, Rwanda may charge either 5% on commodities that are imported from Malawi. Kenya may charge them either 10%. Uganda may charge them also either 15%, meaning each country is charging its own tax on commodities from non-member countries. The third stage of economic integration is the customs union, the CU, which is customs union. Now, on customs union, it entails all the characteristics of free trade area. It entails all the characteristics of free trade area, but in addition, countries adopt the same tax on commodities from non-member countries in customs union. They will charge the same tax on commodities from non-member countries. Now, with customs union, this is the stage where member countries eliminate all trade barriers amongst themselves. In addition, they adopt a common tariff on commodities from non-member countries. And what is that common tariff? Now, like in the East African community, EAC, this is Rwanda, we have Kenya, and we have Uganda, and other countries like Burundi, South Sudan, and Tanzania. Now, if I'm a Rwandan buying goods from Congo, and I'm importing goods from Congo, and these countries have decided, they have adopted the same tax. If they have adopted to charge them either 10%, Rwanda will charge those products 10%. If a Kenyan also imports those goods from Congo, because Congo is a non-member country, is not part of East Africa. Also, Kenya will charge 10%. This is a Kenyan also buying from Congo. If I'm a Ugandan and I buy also from Congo, Uganda will charge also 10%. Now, on customs union, member countries charge the same tax on commodities from non-member countries. Now, you can see that Rwanda is charging 10% on commodities that are imported from Congo. Kenya is charging 10% on commodities that are imported from Congo. And even Uganda will charge also 10% on commodities imported from Congo. They charge the same tax on commodities from non-member countries. And the fourth stage is the common market. On common market, it also entails the characteristics of customs union. But in addition, there is free mobility of factors of production. Factors of production are free to move from one country to another country with common market. An example of common market. Now, like foreigners from East African countries, they don't pay for a working visa. It is free. And this encourages citizens from member countries to move to other countries in order to work in those countries. Now, like foreigners, like Ugandans who are working in Rwanda, they don't pay for working visa. It is free. That is encouraging free mobility. Kenyans who are working in Rwanda, they don't pay for a working visa. Now, there is free mobility of factors of production within the region on member countries. And the second example, member countries like Uganda, Kenya, and Rwanda, they have adopted the use of IDs. And by adopting the use of IDs, it becomes easier to cross from one country to another, those member countries that are trading together. Because before it could be difficult, either for a Rwandan to go to Uganda, because it required you to have a passport. And acquiring a passport, it is expensive. Now, we are using IDs, which becomes easy. Because acquiring an ID, it becomes cheaper. Now, this encourages movement of people from one country to another. There is also capital, free movement of capital. If I'm a Kenyan, I can come and invest in Rwanda without any restriction. And a Ugandan also can go and invest in Rwanda because there is free movement of capital. The last stage of economic integration is the economic union. The economic union entails all the characteristics of common market. But how is it different from, it entails the characteristics of common market, but how is it different from common market? In addition, there is joint ownership of enterprises. Joint ownership of enterprise, a property owned by 2 or more people. For example, if member countries like the East African community, they are planning to, like the East African community, they want to establish an East African industry. They want to establish an East African industry. Now, in order to establish this East African industry, all countries will have to contribute. Rwanda will contribute, Uganda will contribute, Burundi will contribute, Tanzania will contribute, South Sudan will contribute, and Kenya will contribute. That is joint ownership. And this industry will be owned by all these member states. They will have shares. That is what we call joint ownership. If they are planning to establish an industry, an East African industry, all member countries have to contribute. And this industry will be owned by all member countries. That is what we call the economic union. Before I end the lesson, learners, I want to leave you with the homework. And there are only 2 questions. As you're writing down the homework, I can read through these questions. The first question is, what are the conditions necessary for economic integration? The second question, list at least 3 trading blocks in which Rwanda is a member, and give at least 2 more countries that are also members in that trading bloc. Thank you, learners, for being attentive. Thank you, learners, for watching. We meet next time. Thank you.